Hi everyone, this is Stephanie and this is Stephanie Builds Wealth. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, welcome if you're new. And on my channel, I'm doing a bit of a social experiment to document my journey with paying off debt, learning financial literacy from a high income paying job to a low income paying job, and then also really fine-tuning my psychology training into understanding the patterns and behaviors and emotions of why we do what we do with money, the relationship we have with money, and where this all came from, and to most importantly recognize our patterns. And that's going to start telling a story. So speaking of stories, I am working on sharing with you my money story. And it's taking a little while to piece together because it's a very thoughtful, introspective, very honest and vulnerable conversation that I've had to have with myself many times, many revelations that have happened to me in the last couple months after, just you learn a lot of things, and then at some point it just clicks and you wake up and you have all this information downloaded in your mind, and now a lot of things make a lot more sense. So it's taking a while to get that done in a way that feels true to myself and authentic, in a way that it makes sense, so that anyone looking at this, even though we're different people, we come from different backgrounds, it resonates because I think we all have a lot of the same patterns growing up. We just don't even know we do because they become so commonplace. It just blends into the background. So subscribe to be ready for that. I think I'm going to upload that as a premiere so everyone can get ready for that one and not feel rushed and enjoy themselves while they listen to it. For today, what I'd like to do is go ahead and prepare the last payday of 2023. Personally, very excited about this. 2023 started out being very promising, very hopeful, really knocking out a lot of my debt and correcting a lot of the unemployment misfortunes the last couple years. And then towards about sometime in like middle of summerish, it just sort of took a turn. And I have been doing the best that I can to keep up with it, with significantly less income than what I was making at the hospital as a surgical tech. I am now retired. So very excited to share with you this last paycheck of 2023 and how we're going to allocate it, how much we have left, what the numbers are going to look like going into 2024 when I do my end of the month debt update. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. I am going to, I'm going to take this out for December so I can reference that over here. You won't be able to see it off screen, but just know that it's there. It exists in off screen land. This is for January that I use for reference. Let's see if I can move this. Sure it's still in frame. I'm going to zoom you out just a teeny bit. Okay. So we are going to work on this and work on this. I did want to go over what we have from last paycheck. So everything that was planned was already processed from the account. And then everything that wasn't planned and planned, my total expense tracker is up to par. The mortgage has already been drafted, a firm has been drafted, mattress has been drafted, groceries have gone through, Upgrade has drafted, Colonial Life has drafted, Discover 2 has drafted, the $68 drafted into my sinking funds, miscellaneous drafted. Unplanned was that extra buffer when I realized I needed to increase my miscellaneous. And then just yesterday, I ended up paying an additional $26.38 to interest that was growing on a card that I'm really looking to pay off by Friday, actually. So that brought my total balance that's going to be rolled over from $50.23 to $23.85. Okay. And I think that's it. Okay. So we are going to work on this Friday. I'll work on this right here. Okay. So it is going to be December 22nd is Friday. 2023. Wow. Another year in the books, everyone. Another year in the books. Okay. So the date is going to be 12/22. 12/22. This is going to be rollover and payday. This will say is day job. This is rollover from the buffer. Okay. Rollover is going to be, what was it? 2385. Yes, 2385. 2385. And then my usual salary, 2038. Is that right? 2038.64. Okay. So we have 2385 plus 2038 and 64 cents. 2062. That is going to be 2062.49. All right. So, first expense is going to be grocery. My groceries are all, I have them automatically set up to put $250 into my digital envelope because I don't like to carry cash envelopes that have a large amount of money. I don't really carry cash envelopes anymore at this point because I just can't. So I have $250 automated to go into my digital envelope for groceries. This is going to be due on payday. I have it set up every 2 weeks. So this will be due 12/22. Amount is $250. Actual is the same. This is automated. This is, we'll say, fixed. Next is going to be the credit union bank CC, and that comes out on Friday. This is, I think this is down to $98, but I am going to put 100 because the smaller the amount that this drops down to for minimum payment, the more problematic that becomes. Just note to self, side note, don't get stuck in that trap where if you have a high balance on a card and you keep paying monthly payments and the monthly payment the minimum payment keeps dropping, don't let that trick you because the interest that comes off is about $40 a month. And if you keep paying less and less and less, but the interest does not go down, that means that in the background, while you think you're, oh great, I'm making payments on time, I'm being responsible, what's happening in the background is though the minimum payment is dropping, the balance overall is going up. So this is set at $98. I'm going to keep it at $100. And then as I'm able to pay more towards this, this will change. So this is automated. This is, it's variable. So I'm just going to put variable. We'll see. Next thing is going to be the 2 of the 3 medical bills I have left, which is the anesthesiologist. So we'll put anesthesia. This is due on the 24th, 12/24. The amount is $67. The actual is the same. This is automated and this is fixed. Next is the school. I don't know about you, how your situation's set up, but I had my school loans automated to be drafted automatically. And for the last 2 months since we've restarted, they have both been pulled late because for some reason they're drafted to pull on the day that they're due, but then they pull after. So for 2 days or for 2 months in a row, I've been late paying my student loans and they're automated. I don't make it make sense. At this point, I have them automated because it drops down my interest rate from I think 5.25 to 5.5. But I mean, if the damn thing is going to be drafted late for the rest of the time I have the loans, what is the point of having the 5.5 versus 5.25 and the interest? It does me no good. So if this does not pull on the correct day this month, month 3, okay, October, November, December, I'm going to cancel my auto draft and manually do it before it's due. Because why have it draft automatically if it's going to be drafted late? That makes no sense. And that's the only one that does that. Of all my bills I have, the ones that I've automated, that's the only one that does that. I don't understand why, but I guess school loans, it makes sense, I guess, in the long scheme of things. Let's see, Bank West. This is due 12/25. I think this has a low balance. I think this is $35. I was doing $75, but I dropped it down to $40 since the medical bills in the state came back. So I dropped that down to $40 just to free up some money paying off the high interest cards so I can knock those out and have extra money to put back towards this. So it's a temporary short-term sacrifice for long-term gains, if you want to, psychology yourself on that. So let's see, let's put this. Squeakers is down here needing attention. You may or not see her tail flipping around. So this is 35. I am putting 40. And I know that I'm putting the actual backwards, but in my head, this makes me feel better that I can put more than what it is. So it's kind of shrinking myself in a way. This is automated? No, this is manual. Okay, so I should probably fix that. So this is manual. This is variable. What next? State. This is due on what did the statement say? The 25th. And it is 364, and that's the same. This is manual because for some reason you can't make payments online. You have to do a check. I actually had to order checks from the bank to send them here because I don't have checks for anything. Everything I have automated or I pay online. So I actually had to go and get checks to pay this because they don't have a system set up where they can accept online payment. I think you can do over the phone, but I would imagine that would probably be a ridiculous fee, and I wouldn't trust calling the phone to make payments because trying to get a hold of them for non-payments is next to impossible, and I don't want to spend an hour on the phone just to make a payment. I'd rather just write a check, put it in the mail, send it on its way. And I've actually already sent the check because it's a check. It takes a long time to physically get to the location, and then whatever system they have set up to actually scan it and process the check and then have it pulled from my bank account before the due date. So the due date is next Monday, We are here on Thursday. I mailed this check on Monday, so I would have all week to get there, process, and pull before Monday. So if you're doing checks, please remember, if your check is due on a date, mail the check at least a week beforehand to cover your bases, because it can get lost, it can get routed to the wrong department, and when they finally get it and process it, a lot of the times they will pass that late fee on to you. So could you negotiate having it removed? Probably. A lot of people have anxiety about calling and advocating for themselves, but I mean, you can give it a try. The worst they can say is no. But I would just avoid all that by sending it early. Okay, so let's see. We have the state. I have my car note that is due on 12/26. The amount is $363.73. That is the amount. That's always the same until I start paying more payments on it. That's the same. This is automated, variable. This is fixed. State, that's fixed. T-Mobile bundle. This is a bundle with my phone service and my iPad, since I need to be mobile with classes. So this is 12/26. This is 90. That is the actual. This is on auto draft, and this is fixed. What else? I think I'm missing something. Oh, the rest are utilities. Okay. Let's see. So car note, mobile. Oh, I did call about my notary insurance. When I was doing notary 2 years ago pretty heavily, I bumped up my insurance to about $1 million. And now that I rarely ever do notary unless for my work, and I'm pretty much protected by the typical bond of $25,000, I called them on Monday or Tuesday. I called them on Tuesday. Yes. And I asked them, I needed to make changes to my limits and drop it down from the 1 million to 25,000. And they told me that they would have to send it to underwriting to generate a quote and then send it back to me within 3 to 5 business days. So 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, no, I did call Monday. So 1, 2, 3. Today's 3 days on Thursday. Hopefully they get back to me tomorrow. I have until January, I believe, 20th to get that taken care of before it automatically renews. And I need to get that readjusted before it kicks in next month, because once the policy is active, you cannot touch it for the entire year until the renewal period comes up again. So I have been waiting 7 months to be able to change this policy and drop it down and then lower the amount that I pay every month for it, because I don't need to. I rarely ever do notary anymore, and the things that I'm notarizing, they don't have a financial cost that would affect me if anything goes wrong. It would affect the company that I work for. So I don't need the coverage that I needed before. So that should be going down, thankfully. Okay, let's see, what would be next? So in the 26th, 27, there's nothing. 28 is Amazon. So Amazon is the 28th. And I think I'm going to put this, if it's like 101 and change, I think I'm gonna just do a straight 102. And this is manual, this is variable. What else? I need to go into January, because the way that I get paid bi-weekly is at least one check has to overlap into the following week, into the following month. Okay, so we're at the 28th, 29, 30. The second is progressive, and then my HOA. Okay, so this would be progressive. This is 1, 2, amount 188. 66, that's the actual amount. This is automated and this is fixed. And then I have miscellaneous. That's going to be drafted on the 22nd. And we had 50 last time. I bumped it up to 60. So I bumped it up to amount is 60. The actual will be that. This is manual. This is variable. Okay, so let's see what we're working with. Okay, so we have, okay, so we've got 2062, hi squeaker. All right, we have 2062 minus the groceries, the bank, Clark County, so the credit union CC, and anesthesia, Bank West is 40, state, 73 is the car, T-Mobile bundle, Amazon. I hear you. Progressive. And okay. So I need to put the Discover One payoff. Pay off 12, 22, 300. This is manual and this is, we'll say variable. Okay, so then 300, that leaves it at 137.1, and I will put to Discover One, I'm sorry, Discover Two, I will put 100, and that will leave 37.1 as the buffer. So that means by January 2nd, I should have the 400 buffer. Okay. I wish I had that paper. I think it's in my notebook that I scribble my crazy thoughts in. So I have a buffer of 37 bucks until the 2nd. What is this? January 19th. Okay, perfect. So that means that I have stayed on track to pay off my Discover card by the end of December 2023. And I did that. Very excited. Paid in full. Discover One. Yay. And again, I don't use these cards unless I know I can pay them off. So that card is paid off, and that's just going to go off into my files and just sit there where I have like credit cards that I've used for offers and introductions and whatnot. So until I'm in a place where I can pay off the cards in full, I won't use them for daily purchases like groceries and gas and like miscellaneous. I have to have everything separate so that I know exactly what I have and I don't overspend things that I don't have. So yay, happy, paid off 2 credit cards by the end of the year. Well, technically, if I had started to keep track of this earlier, it was 3 because I paid off my care credit, but I had to put the Surgery Center balance back on that. So officially, no balances, Capital One and Discover One. Very excited. So that is what I have for you all today. And filling out the expense tracker is going to be pretty simple because, you know, with a buffer of 37 bucks, there's really not much extra spending happening. Let's see. yeah, I really don't see anything else. And there shouldn't be any more like random little purchases. Well, I mean, not purchases, but expenses, because I did put the extra $26 to pay off interest so I could make sure that my Discover card was paid off completely. So this probably won't really be filled out too much because there's not much of wiggle room here. As to date, I still do not know what the heck is going on with my review. I'm not sure how much the increase is going to happen, if we're getting a bonus. I have no idea. What I am looking into the coming year is I'm in this budgeting group, and some people posted that you could do work from home jobs for companies like UPS, the post office, Amazon. So I'm going to look into those and see if they're not very time consuming jobs and I can be at home and work on those on the side of my day job, I can do them. And I'm still not at the point where I can go back to spring classes in 2024. I clearly don't have the budget to be able to afford classes out of pocket, and I'm definitely not putting them back on my student loan. It's not happening. However, when I am able to free up enough cash to go back to school and pay my classes monthly, I take full credit load, which I think is part-time credits is I think 3 to 4, and then full-time credits is 6 to 12. So if I can take at least 6 credits to be considered full-time when I go back to class, my student loans will automatically pause. Not without interest this time, but they will just pause monthly payments. So that is something that I have to be on top of. So even though I'm not paying the monthly payments, I will still have to be responsible for knocking out that interest because I believe that will still accrue. So very excited to share with you that even on a very tight income with very little left over, I was still able to be creative and resourceful and stick to my guns and go ahead and pay off 2 cards with my income being a little tight. So very excited about that. And if you were watching my debt payoff video before, you saw that I have a plan of attack for how I'm going to be going on to the next thing. So now that Discover's paid off, my next focus is going to be paying off Amazon and knocking that out. And then it is going to be, what was it? I don't remember. Amazon. Credit cards, upgrade, my upgrade loan. Okay, yes. All right, so very excited to share with you all. I'm just so proud that even though I've had so many setbacks the last 6 months of the year, that I was able to sit down and create a plan for a debt payoff date. And I want to share something with you. When you are working towards repairing your finances and increasing your financial literacy, I had a moment when I was watching another YouTube/podcast. They said that the majority of people have no idea when their debt payoff date is. And I thought that was so powerful because I was doing that. I was just having a rough idea in my mind of like, okay, I can pay this off here and I'll just pay this much there. When I sat down and actually made a plan several months ago, I want to say in September is when it started, when I realized that, wait a second, how can I be successful in my debt payoff strategy and then increase my net worth when I don't have a clue when I'm going to be paying these dates off? If I'm letting the creditors choose when I'm going to be paying this off, they're going to stretch it out as long as possible, right? That's that minimum payment trap. So when I sat down and actually looked at my numbers and realized, oh, I can pay this off on this day and this day and this day. And when you sit down and actually engage your mind to come up with a strategy to pay off your debt, it's a sense of empowerment because you realize, oh, wait a minute, I do have some control in when this happens and when I have more financial stability for myself. So ever since I had that little epiphany when I was listening to this podcaster, I was like, oh, you know what? And I believe it was Ramit who said that people will be paying off debt, but they don't have a plan for when that debt is going to be paid off. They can't tell you a date. So when I heard that back in September, I sat down and I made myself a payoff date for my Capital One, and I hit it. I sat down and made a payoff date for my Discover One, and I hit it. And so now I'm doing the same thing with my Amazon, with my Affirm, with my Upgrade. I am sitting down realizing I do have control and taking it to the next step with the debt payment strategy. So if you haven't had that moment, I recommend that you sit down and you give it a go. Get some pieces of paper. Some people go online and there's like debt calculators you can use. Don't just be paying off the debt that you have with a vague idea in your mind of like when it should be paid off. Like, oh, sometime in 2024, in 4 months from now, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. When you can sit down and actually visualize a clear path for how that's going to happen and the day it's going to happen, it's very empowering. So I definitely recommend that you use that technique. It's definitely helped me. Not just to say I'm going to pay off debt. Well, fantastic, but so is everybody else, right? But when you say I'm paying off this debt on this day, that's a whole different game, because now you're holding yourself accountable and you're also engaging your mind to be on the lookout for possibilities where you can have opportunities that will get that money into your path and into that debt goal. For example, when I went back and decided, okay, am I still on track to paying off my Discover One? My balance was $1,050. And you all know how tight my money is right now. And then I remembered, oh, that's right. I have $350 from a medical reimbursement. Make sure that I get that sent in so I can get that, right? I had to do the work. When I saw the opportunity, I had to do the work to make that happen, to come to me. And I realized, oh, that's right. I can pull $100 from my Etsy. And then, oh, that's right. I'm getting $300 back from my Wells Fargo bonus checking account. Great. And then I can add all those things to my regular payday, and then it brings the balance down to zero. So had I not been on the lookout to think, how can I make this $1,050 turn to zero in 2 weeks, I remembered, oh, I need to do, not only do I need to be aware that there's opportunities for the money to come to me, but you're going to have to do a little bit of work to make that happen, right? You're going to have to sell your items. You're going to have to list them. You're going to have to create them. You're going to have to package them, put them into the mailbox if they're physical things, and drop them off at the post office. Think outside the box. Okay, if I have a job that's very detail oriented and I am reading through $1 million contracts and I can't do 2 work from home jobs at the same time, how else can I bring money to me in a way that I don't even have to lift a finger? Oh, I can just open bonus checking accounts and then bring that money towards me by literally just opening up a checking account from my phone in the comfort of my couch. I didn't have to look for job ads. I didn't have to look through gig work. I didn't have to get in my car and put wear and tear on my car, burn through the money that I'm trying to make from DoorDash or Uber to put back into putting my gas in there. No, I just went ahead and created that pathway. Again, not that there's anything wrong with doing those things. I know a lot of people get triggered by a lot of things these days, but when you decide that you're going to create a payoff date for your debt or a fund date for sinking funds or graduation ceremonies or weddings or birthdays or trips, when you lock down a physical, tangible, real date, your mind engages itself to say, okay, brain, we're going to activate our reticular activating system, and we're going to hone in on ways that we can make that date possible. So your brain has this thing built into it called the reticular activating system, the RAS, and you all have used it whether you know it or not. So for example, to put this in perspective, when you're looking for a car and you think, oh, I think my next car is going to be a Toyota Corolla. All of a sudden, your brain says, check, look out for Toyota Corollas and make that possible. Make this person see that that is a possibility. And literally within 24 hours, you start noticing a Toyota Corolla, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. When you tell your brain, the RAS, to focus on this end date, we need to pay this card off by the end of December 2023. Copy that. Okay, brain, we need to figure out ways to bring opportunities and generate money so that Stephanie can pay off this card by December 2023. We have 2 weeks. What do we do? Okay, great. We're going to do this, this, and this. It's amazing when you focus your mind on something, how quickly the moving parts around reality start to bend and make that happen for you. So this was able to be accomplished, even though I have very tight finances. You're seeing that this happened. This is a thing. And once my online account goes from the, 600 I have left down to 0, I will screenshot that and I will post it so I can show you guys. I would show you the account now, but I'm using my phone to film, so I can't do that. But it's amazing when you focus your mind, the reticular activating system, to say, okay, brain, by the end of January 2024, we're going to have Amazon paid off. Okay, got that. Now your brain is going to start automatically looking for ways to make that reality happen. Just like when you say, yep, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get a red Mustang. And all of a sudden, you see red Mustangs all over the place, all around you. It's amazing. So that was a big breakthrough. And we know this information, but we just don't apply it to our lives, or we really don't understand how to apply it to our lives. So once Ramit said that, where yes, people are paying off their debt, but more than half of the people paying off their debt don't have any clue when they stop doing that. People will say, well, I'll stop paying off the debt once the debt's paid off. Okay, great. But what if you took it a step further and you said, I'm going to pay off my debt in half the time by this day? And then all of a sudden, your mind starts saying, check, we got that. How are we going to make this happen? So I am showing you, this is proof. This is proof by a person who has literally $37 as a buffer back when I used to have like $90,000 coming in, and that was a base without even working anything extra. I have gone from having that to $37 as a buffer. And with all of my responsibilities that I have to do, I'm still able to pay off my debt on the date that I said I was going to do it. So this should be very inspiring. This should be very exciting for you to know that you have the ability to just really dial in to things. So I hope this was very helpful for you. I hope this is inspiring. And by the time I check back in January for the first payday, I will do a mid 2-week check-in and update everyone of the clearance here, like what items have cleared. And then I'll take a screenshot and upload it of my zero balance for my Discover 1. Okay, and then also remember to subscribe and like. It helps the algorithm for the channel. It helps us reach more people. And I'm working very hard on getting that money story set up for you. I'm going to be working on it this weekend and finalizing the last little bits. And then I will have it posted as a premiere so that people can have notifications and be ready for that. And feel free to, take notes or have a snack while I share my story with you, and I feel that it will resonate with a lot of people. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you so much for sharing some of your day with me. I really appreciate it, and I hope that sharing my story inspires other people to look at their finances differently, to look at their patterns differently, to look at the way that they have a relationship with money differently, and be able to use that to empower themselves to do better and also teach their children to do better. Thank you so much.